dish. And so we got some exciting things that we're going to be doing for our Taste and See cooking class. So the way we're going to do this is ever so often, as you can see on the screen, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about health principles related to our eating and drinking, how to make sure we understand how to have good meals. But in that, I'm also going to have my bride, Alexandra. She's going to talk with you all about these various recipes and how to make them. So we'll be interchanging one with another. So as we prepare to begin our cooking class, we want to go ahead and just simply start with, as has been our custom, a word of prayer. Okay? So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask for a blessing upon us, and then we are going to officially begin. So let's pray together. Our Father in heaven, we want to thank you for not only this beautiful day, but we thank you that so many people are thinking about the resurrection of Christ. We're very grateful, Lord God, for this time that is often celebrated as Easter, where people are thinking about Jesus, and not merely that he died, but that he rose again and he lives. And we thank you for a living Savior. And Lord, it's in this that we have come together to not only celebrate his love and grace towards us, but also the principles you've been teaching us all throughout this week on how to eat for strength. And so bless our time together, bless everyone that's here, and be with everyone who's on their way as well. And may we all feast and have a wonderful time together and be inspired in taking charge of our health. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So with that being stated, we're going to go ahead and get a little bit into some recipes, but I want to show you one thing very quickly. This is a passage of scripture that I know many of us are familiar with when we talk about when the Bible says, "And the Lord God made man out of the dust of the ground, and then breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." Okay? That's where we come from. We come from the soil, all right? Now, here's what I thought was so interesting about this fact. Knowing that we all come from the soil, that's one thing that makes all of us alike. We all come from the soil, and when we die, we go back to that soil. But watch this. I want you to notice this point right here. Many of the elements from the dust is found in man. Think about that. Magnesium, phosphorus, calcium, potassium, sodium, iron, iodine, chlorine, sulfur, etc. All of these things are in the soil. We come from the soil. We need all of these things to live and thrive, and that's one of the great reasons why we should choose foods that have a root system. It's one of the great reasons why we talk so much about plant-based foods, because it's the plant sources that takes the nutrients from the soil, brings it up to the stem, and obviously lets it go through a conversion process, and then provides us organic food that we can eat and enjoy. So this is the rationale as to why we go into our different plant-based sources. It's with this understanding that I want you to look at this. I want to tell you something about my wife very quickly, is she really cares about all of you. And I mean, she really does. She puts a lot of effort into preparing to make sure that your food groups are nice and healthy and nutrient dense. And this is an example. When we buy the raw cashews that we're going to make to use to make some of your dishes, this is what it looked like. I happened to be walking in the kitchen, and I just happened to see that. And when I saw that, I was like, ew, are we going to serve that to everybody? You know, it's like, and she's like, no, dear, we're not going to do that. But what she's doing is she's cleaning that to make sure that you don't get any of that residue or these things that normally comes on the nuts. So here it is that she's soaking and doing all these things until it looks like that. Nice and clear, to make sure that whatever she's going to make for you all, this is just a symbol of what has been prepared for you all. I'm the one that gets to watch her do all of this, and she puts a lot of effort into it. And so I want to very quickly introduce you to this loving, caring person for you all that I've known to be loving, caring for 28 years, but you all are getting to meet her for the first time. So this is my bride, Alexandra. Honey, go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
All right. And so it is that, you know, we are the tag team that goes ahead and seeks to teach health and to demonstrate it. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into some awesome healthy food. So, honey, what is the first thing that we're going to demonstrate for everyone so they can taste and see?
Okay, we're going to do a scrambled tofu.
Okay.
So normally you would saute. You would just, I usually use, it's okay. It's okay. I usually use Earth Balance, soy garden butter. Just take a little bit. You could either use water for some of you who wants to just watch your oil intake, but you typically would just saute with a little butter. And here I have like chopped up peppers, chopped up onions. This really adds flavor to the butter, and this will season up your tofu because normally tofu does not have any flavor in it. So this would have been the seasonings, but it's fine because we're not going to demo it anyway. But if you look on your sheets, you will see the seasonings for the tofu seasonings. Do you see that on the top? Okay, that's essentially what that was a cup and a half of nutritional yeast flakes, and then you put the onion powder, garlic powder, turmeric, parsley flakes. I use smoked paprika, so that's what you'll be tasting. You can want to put a note there, and then some sea salt. Okay, and that you can keep in a dry container. You can keep it in your pantry. It'll be good for a while. Okay, so as you saute as you saute the onions and the peppers and you get it nice and just a little golden, you can add your tofu. So you would be crumbling this tofu. This is what I typically use. You'll see it says firm. When you go to the store, sometimes you'll see it says silken. It'll say extra firm. It'll say firm. I typically use firm. I like this texture the best. This is my staple. And typically you want to look for the non-GMO soybeans. And this is a good source of whole proteins. That means it has all the amino acids in there. So anybody who's really into trying to fitness and get their protein in, this is a good source. Okay? So this is packed with water. This is typically you'll find in the refrigerator section. And when you open it, what I typically do will let it sit in the container. I'll drain it, and then I'll just let it sit upright. Some people have like a tofu press that they use. I'll let it sit for like 10 minutes, and you'll see additional water coming in. The reason I do that is because if I put the tofu straight from the container, even after I drain it, there's still water that's in that tofu, and it's going to kind of dilute the flavor a bit of your tofu. So I try to drain as much as possible. It doesn't have to be bone dry, but just let it sit for like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and then drain it. That should be good. And you crumble it within your peppers and your onions. Then, at that point, you usually use this season to taste. You'll sprinkle it on there, you mix it up, sprinkle it. There's no set amount. You season to taste. And this actually, you're going to taste that when we serve you, when we get your plates, your samples together. Okay.
And the way that tofu works, how many of you actually cook with tofu? Just to get a few hands. Okay, there's a few of us here that do that. Okay, there's a lot of us here that don't. One of the things you'll learn is, for lack of a better term, the secret of really making a great tofu dish. Like, how do you get tofu to taste like a certain food group that you enjoy, whether it be chicken or beef or eggs or something else? It's how long you let it sit. The more that it sits with the seasonings in it, tofu is kind of like a sponge. It absorbs. It absorbs whatever the flavors are that you put on it. Oh, it absorbs whatever the flavors are that you put on it. So one of the things we want you to keep in mind is that sometimes when you're making a tofu dish, and this can also include your scrambled tofu. Now, it doesn't take long, which is the good news. So if it sits even just for a few minutes after you make it, it's just going to absorb that flavoring much more so that when you eat it, it's going to taste like really with a lot of flavor in it. So this is especially for those of you who are new to making tofu. This is something that is a really great food group, very, very nutrient dense. It's one of the best plant proteins. By the way, it's one of the top forms of plant sources of tryptophan. For those of us who were looking last night about mental health, tofu has a boatload, over 250 grams. One block of tofu has over 250 grams of tryptophan. So when we think about mental health, you really want to include tofu in the diet when we're trying to get ourselves mentally stable because of its high tryptophan content.
That's right. Okay. I have another seasonings I'm going to show you later on. Not all seasonings work with the same dish. If I were to use, because I'm going to introduce a nut loaf, I'm going to show you how to make a nut loaf. If I were to put this tofu nut loaf seasoning, this tofu seasonings in the nut loaf, it would not taste the same, and vice versa. So I found that a lot of people don't really know how to make scrambled tofu. We've been to a couple of restaurants. I think out of the restaurants, maybe 2 impressed me, where they really, put flavor in there and they took, some care into making sure it tasted good. Mm-hmm. This is pretty good, I found. And again, you could always cheese.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is basically, again, the explanation. Of course, we have a conductor that's unfortunately not working, so we could not actually do the live demo. That was the plan, was to do the demo, but the conductor's not working. Nevertheless, my wife has done the best to explain how to make your scrambled tofu. Is there anyone that feels unclear how to make the scrambled tofu? Good. Okay. What particularly is it that you would like better explained or what have you, so that way we can make sure you're clear? We want to make sure before we move on to another recipe that you're clear on the previous recipe. So go ahead, sister.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So yes, while it's cooking, so when you add the peppers and the onions, you put the tofu in there and you cook it with it. So let it cook, get the flavors all incorporated. Then probably I usually wait like 10 minutes, and then I'll start sprinkling on it while it's cooking, incorporating, mixing it while it's cooking, and then you'll see it come together. You'll see it's literally going to kind of look like scrambled tofu or scrambled eggs a little bit, not really, but it's like a yellow golden consistency. My husband likes a little golden, not burnt.
When I used to eat scrambled eggs, I literally would ask my mother the same thing all the time. Mom, could you please make scrambled eggs almost burnt? So it's like that was always my thing because I liked it nice and almost crunchy like. You could do the same thing with a scrambled tofu. You can get it almost to that type of crunchy consistency if you let it cook long enough.
Yeah, so yes. I used Earth Balance butter. I know there's other plant-based sources out there. This is just what I use. Mm-hmm.
And this one can be bought from your local Safeway. This might even be in Walmart too, right?
Yeah, might, depending on the one.
This particular one, they have Earth Balance where soy is included in the ingredients, but if for any reason you want to not have the soy, this particular color that you're seeing here, that one is the soy-free.
And it'll tell you, soy-free.
Yeah. And I just want to say very quickly, when it comes to the subject of soy, a lot of individuals get concerned because they say, uh-oh, estrogen, right, when you think of soy. Always remember this, family. Plant protein and animal protein, the body metabolizes differently. Okay? Animal fat and plant fats, the body metabolizes it differently. So it is with animal-based estrogen and plant-based estrogen. The body metabolizes it differently. So if you have concerns about breast cancer and things of that nature, you have reason to be concerned if you're talking about animal-based estrogen coming from animal foods. When it comes to phytoestrogens, that's plant estrogens, you do not have the same concerns. They do not affect the body the same way or increase. In fact, they decrease the risk of developing breast cancer by eating phytoestrogens. So for anybody who's concerned about, uh-oh, soy, I heard, what's funny? A lot of the research where they started talking about how soy estrogen, plant estrogen, phytoestrogen, is contributive or could be contributive to development of breast cancer, it's kind of interesting that it came from a lot of the same companies that the beef industry hired. They hired them to do the research because a lot of people are moving away from milk to soy milk. A lot of people are moving more to soy products. But the true science, the science that's out, it's not hard to find, soy-based or plant-based estrogen does not increase your likelihood of developing breast cancer. So again, even though I'm saying soy-free here, I'm just simply letting you know soy is not as dangerous as you might have heard. There is a difference between plant source and animal source. Yes?
For this particular recipe, we use the whole carton of soy. I'm sorry for soy.
Yes.
It doesn't say how much to use.
Yes, you can use that. This recipe is good for one carton or two, honestly, a block, sorry. You could use one or two. This is 16 ounces. So it's the same if you wanted to do two, like literally the same amount. You're just adding more seasonings. That's the point of it. But yes, you could definitely, because I didn't put a measurement for the amount of onions and peppers. It's really your choice, yeah. Just so you know, you could just put some butter on here, or not even. I think Dwayne made it one time. I have a video of him cooking. It's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. So he was cooking it, and he just used water. It was a nonstick, so I don't even think he used anything. He just heated it up, crumbled the tofu, and he's doing this, putting the seasonings, and he's looking at me, and he's mixing it up. It was delicious. He was actually making breakfast for me. So just so you know, it's really the seasoning that makes the flavor, but I like a little bit of fixings in my thing, so yeah.
And go ahead.
Okay, so if you don't eat it, how is it refrigerator-wise or freezer-wise? Can you say something?
Leftover, yes, you can keep it in the fridge for about, let's see, I'd say no more than 5 days, 5 to 7 days. Definitely check after 5 days, smell it, make sure.
And you can put it in like regular Tupperware.
Yeah.
You know, you just put it in Tupperware. You put a seal on top. You know, put something over it. Don't just leave it open in the fridge. But yeah, put a top over it, and you can rest it right in the refrigerator. It could last several days.
Yeah.
And again, it will. If you let it last several days, it's actually going to taste even better because it just continues to absorb all of those seasonings.
And then how do you reheat it? Can you nuke it? Or you wouldn't recommend it?
I was about to say, so good question. So the question was, when you take it out the fridge and you're going to eat it again, can you nuke it? And the answer is you can nuke it all day long if you want. You can do that. But when you ask the question, is it recommended? We would say, no, it's not recommended. You can literally take a pan just like that, just drop it in nice and cold. Literally, I'm talking about you're just running the fire on it for like a couple of minutes because it's going to heat up very quick. And then next thing you know, you can go ahead and eat. All right?
And in terms of heating real quick, you can add like, let's see, 2 tablespoons of water. So the steam of the water is heating it up also,
Yeah.
and it won't take the flavor away.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Do you use gas or electric? Okay. So you start, when I saute my vegetables, I always go the slow route. I like it because it just really just slowly flavors the butter, if you're using butter. And to me, so I'll do it like low to medium heat and just let it take its time. And sometimes, even if I'm making a sauce, you ever heard of reduction? Where you cook it down and it intensifies the flavor of the dish. So, but that's like a slow process, okay? So I would do like low to medium, let it take its time, saute till it's like a little golden. Then when you add the tofu, you could do medium. medium to high, but just medium is good. Let's let it cook down. It's going to evaporate some of that water. Remember I said when you have it in the container, you're going to drain it, but then you're going to let it sit there for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's going to accumulate more water. More water is going to come out. Drain it, and then you crumble it in the pan. You could use your hands or you can use a fork. And then you just cook it with the vegetables and let it just cook down. You're going to see some of the liquid, but it's going to start to evaporate. You do have to watch it because after a while, if you don't, it might burn.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's cooking with that liquid, you want to add the seasoning. So as soon as you put it in and you cook it, I say 10 minutes, but even if it's 5 minutes, just sprinkle it because you want it to take in that seasoning, and you're just mixing it until that water just goes away before it burns, and it'll be ready. Be ready, yeah.
Okay, good. Was there any other questions on the tofu? Yes, I thought I saw your hand. Yes.
That's a great question, yes. You can get probably, I'd say, because this here is probably, again, you season to taste. Typically for 1 carton, you're going to typically sprinkle like 2 to 3 tablespoons. Okay, so this is going to give you like maybe a cup and a half, maybe 2 cups worth of, so you could use it for a while. Yeah, you're not adding the whole thing. You'll see.
Yeah, it can last a very long time.
Yeah, I wish I had a bag. I have a bag over there to show you how much, but it's okay.
Okay. Yes, Carol.
What do you mean by meat-based soy? I thought that was a plant-based product.
When I said meat-based soy, probably what I meant was a soy-based meat. In other words, you're using soy to taste like a meat. So you ever heard of soy chicken or soy beef or something like that? In other words, you're trying to get the soy to mimic the flavor of whatever the food group is you like, chicken, beef, fish, or what have you. The more that you let the tofu, the soy, the more you let the seasonings sit in it, it's going to increase the flavor of whatever you're trying to get. In this case, we're trying to increase the flavor of eggs, because scrambled tofu is a really good alternative to scrambled eggs, okay? But that's the idea.
Maybe I heard you wrong, but I thought you said that there was a difference between plant-based and animal-based soy.
No, I was saying plant-based and animal-based estrogen. Estrogen, yeah. So that's the issue, because whenever you think of estrogen, like if people drink a lot of milk, if they take a lot of dairy products, you're thinking about estrogen. And when you think about the estrogen, you have concerns about breast cancer and things of that nature. When an individual eats a lot of soy, the concern for some who have researched is, well, doesn't soy have estrogen? And the answer is yes, but it's a plant estrogen. And plant estrogen is metabolized in the body differently from how estrogen would be from an animal source. So that was the point. You're very welcome. Good. Okay. Yes, Billy.
For this application, I think the texture and everything's fine, but when you talk about meat products,
Yeah.
I haven't ever found soy to have a texture that is palatable.
Oh, it's out there. It's out there. There are people who have basically invested a lot. It has a lot of preservatives, okay? These are not the things you want to make a regular for you. But, if you look at things like an Impossible Burger, where they make it taste like a beef burger, or if you look at a company called Gardein or Morningstar or Boca, they're all making products that taste like beef, taste like chicken, or even taste like fish. Some of them do a fantastic job. Some of them, it really tastes like meat. I mean, it has the texture and everything. So, again, if you all make your trips down to Phoenix or what have you, you have a plethora of vegan restaurants where you can order a hamburger or a chicken sandwich, and if they did not tell you that they were a vegan place, when you're biting into that sandwich, you're thinking you're eating chicken. You're thinking you're eating beef. That's how far we've come with plant-based sources for alternative meats. Now, today, my wife is going to do an alternative meat as well. But again, we're not so much going to tell you that, hey, this tastes exactly like beef, okay? But what we're going to say is it comes close to these flavors enough that it makes the alternative switch a lot easier for us. So that's what we're going to go ahead and get into. If you don't mind, we're going to take this last question, and then we're going to move to the next recipe because we want to be guarded with all of your time. But if you really have a pressing question, please ask your question. We want to make sure we answer it. Yes, my sister.
I'm just interested in texture. What I do is I freeze the firm tofu, and it changes the texture to be more chewy.
Chewy, yeah. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
a great idea as well. So she says that she freezes it. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to make it and to prepare it where it can be pretty awesome. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you all a picture in just a little bit of a stir-fry dish that my bride Alexandra made for us one time. And it was so good. And it mimicked like chicken and broccoli. And I'll show you what she did just so you can get an idea of how far you can go even with preparing a tofu dish. All right?
I do want to just add that not everything is going to taste. I used to be a meat eater. My father was a chef. So we ate the steak, we ate the chicken, we ate all of that. It is a transition.
Yeah.
We have to remember why we're doing this. You know, ultimately, there's a higher reason for health. So I just want to keep that, remind you, like I'll make the cheese, it's going to taste very much like cheddar cheese, but the nut loaf will not taste like meat. But it'll taste good. So just it is a transition. Okay?
Probably the last point on this, but directly connected to this point of the transition, is for a lot of us we have to realize that when we eat meat, a lot of us enjoy the grease, we enjoy the fat, even to a degree we enjoy the blood that is mingled with it, the heme that is also in it. Even the heme that is in the animal meat, a lot of people don't know this, but there's still up to 10% of the animal blood that's still mingled in the meat, the actual blood, outside of the heme, which is dealing with the protein. So you're used to all of that when you're eating the meat. So when you move from that diet, there's a retraining of the mind. You're now training your tongue now to appreciate food from a whole different perspective that doesn't have the grease, it doesn't have the fat, it doesn't have the blood, it doesn't have the heme, and that can be a transition for a lot of our minds. But as Alexandra said, you have to remember, why am I doing this? And it's so that we can take charge of our health based on everything we've been studying, okay? The next recipe we're going to start looking into is something a lot of us love, which is cheese. Are there any cheese likers or lovers in this room? Okay, a lot of hands going up. All right. So, this is something that we want to go ahead and talk about is how can we prepare cheeses in a way that are tasty and great and yet can really provide a lot for us. So what you're about to see now, we're going to do 2 cheeses. One is cheddar cheese. How many of you like cheddar cheese? Okay, good. So for those of us who like cheddar cheese, you're about to see an alternative that you can make. Okay, and then from this cheddar cheese, the other cheese we're going to demonstrate is an Alfredo sauce. How many of you ever had like fettuccine Alfredo? Oh yeah, I mean that was absolutely one of our favorites when we used to court, and we would go out to one of our favorite restaurants called Uno's, and we would get fettuccine Alfredo with chicken and broccoli. And so it is that when we moved away from this lifestyle and started doing this, Alexandra was determined to find a way that we can maintain our fettuccine Alfredo, and she did a great job with these. So let's go ahead and let's notice these 2 now.
Okay, so do you all see, if you look down, I think it's on the second page, you see where it says, we'll do the Alfredo first. So I have a cup of raw cashews that's been washed and soaked overnight. One of the reasons I wash it is to allow for a more seamless blend. There are reports that say that soaking them also allows a better digestion, but I've heard conflicting views, and I went to Google Scholar, and they said there's no evidence that that's so, but I soak it anyway, so just so you know. And so I'll add, now I did not put sesame seed. I have 3 tablespoons of yeast flakes, nutritional yeast flakes. This gives it like a nice cheesy flavor.
How many of you are not familiar with nutritional yeast flakes?
Okay.
Okay. Nutritional yeast flakes, it is a yeast. It is very nutrient dense, especially in vitamin B12, folate as well. And it's also known to give a lot of food groups a very, very cheesy type of flavor. Okay? So if any of us are, really looking to have or relish the taste of cheese, even though we're moving to a more plant-based diet, this is one of the food groups that you definitely want to keep as a staple in your cupboard. So this is nutritional yeast, and you'll obviously taste it and see for yourself.
All right. Also, there's the sea salt, the onion powder, and the garlic powder that's added here. Now, it says lemon juice. You could add a quarter cup of fresh lemon juice. It gives it a nice tart taste. I find that it tastes better without it. So I'm just going to demo it without it. And you just add enough water to blend a nice consistency. This is high on. All right, that's pretty much it. This is a great base for a lot of delicious dressings and sauces. This alone, if you were to take this and let's say you added the lemon juice, you can put a side note for dressing. You could put like a quarter cup of lemon juice, add some honey. You could put various kinds of seasonings in there. Excuse me, various kinds of seasonings. And you will be surprised what comes out. I recommend that you write it down because you'll taste it and you'll like, this is amazing. So this is a nice base for just a lot of different sauces that you can make, okay? So this is an Alfredo sauce. Now, very similar, the cheddar cheese kind of has a little, pretty much the same ingredients. It says here, like for the Alfredo, it's 1 teaspoon of onion, 1 teaspoon of garlic, and it says 3/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I used to do a teaspoon, but I find that you want to taste it first. It's better to add less salt and then taste it, and then you add according. So, but the cheddar cheese is the same thing. Onion powder, garlic powder, and sea salt. The yeast flakes. And then, this is the difference. The pimentos. The red pepper. You could use fresh red pepper for this, and it'll be a raw dish. The darker the pepper, the more the flavor. So I had a very, very nice dark red pepper, but I used it for the tofu that you all will eat. So this is pretty good. I like this particular brand. It says half a cup, but honestly, you could just at least half a cup. But if you do more, it's okay. It's just going to add more flavor to your cheese. I like this particular brand, Mazzetta, because the only ingredients are peppers, water, sea salt, and citric acid. Some of the other brands have vinegar in it. They have all sorts of different ingredients. This one I find has limited amount of flavor. Maybe someone's trying to get in. Okay. Going to add the water. Okay. That's your cheddar cheese. Obviously, you're going to blend it more to make it nice and smooth. You could use it for pizza. You can make mac and cheese. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she's an amazing cook. I don't know what happened. I gave her a few lessons and she took it to the next level, but she makes a killer mac and cheese. So she'll take this recipe. You ever heard of chow cheese? Have you ever seen that at the store? It's like a plant-based cheese, sliced cheese. She added that to it, just the plain, because they have like two different flavors. But she added like a couple of slices to there, and I forgot the other ingredient, honestly. But it's amazing how you could take something so simple, and you're like, oh, it tastes good. And you could even improve it as you experiment to something you like. We were in Ukiah, California.
Give me
And-
a second, Alex.
I'm sorry.
Little urgent announcement.
Oh.
So the two ladies came to the door. They're employees for the hotel. They said that there is a black Hyundai
Okay.
outside with a dog inside. The dog is barking a lot, and they said there's only a crack open in the window. So I don't know if that's any of you here, but they think that the dog is
Oh.
possibly suffering to some degree. So they just wanted to alert any of you. So if any of you have a black Hyundai with a dog inside, then they're asking you, maybe you want to tend to it just to make sure everything's okay. So, oh, okay,
Aw.
good. So then thank you for taking care of that. All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, much appreciated.
you.
Go ahead, hon.
Yeah, pizza, mac and cheese, roasted vegetables, nachos. I was going to say that, let me see, what's that? What's that ingredient? It's like smoke, hickory smoke. It's like a
Liquid smoke?
liquid smoke.
Liquid smoke. Yeah.
Put like just a little goes a long way. So if you ever look that up, liquid smoke, and you put just this amount, you put 2 drops in there, it will just take it to the next level.
How many of you like mac and cheese? Look at this. That I don't know if the screen is giving full justice,
not a good
but
picture, but-
it's a good picture. But I don't know if this screen is going to show it all. But if it were darker and whatnot, you would see it. But this very cheese that's being made right now was applied to make this macaroni and cheese. So the idea is just to simply show, like, you can really get creative with this cheese. If you just simply want to have some tortillas and just have it with the cheese like that, you could do that. If you want to pour it over your broccoli, you could do that. If you want to do a mac and cheese, you can do that as well. But all of it is still coming from this very base ingredient, right? This base recipe right here. And then you can just add things on it. Like my wife said, our daughter will add the chow cheese and things to really give it some, just extra flavor, or the liquid smoke, things of that nature. Just takes it to another level. Yes.
Could you ever make that in cheese ricotta? It probably wouldn't be good enough.
I don't know. I never tried.
There's something called agar-agar.
Yeah.
Agar-agar. Agar-agar is a thickening agent. It's a plant-based thickening agent that if you add that to this, you can make it so thick that you can cut slices of it and add it to a sandwich. So yeah, so I would say if you add the agar-agar, A-G-A-R, if you add agar-agar, the good news is that even though I don't see a lot of health food stores, I heard there is a health food store here in Sholo, but I don't know how much of what they have there. Oh, they have agar-agar and things of that nature? Okay, awesome. So obviously check that local store first, because I think it's great when we can keep our money in our communities. But if not, Amazon. Amazon will probably 99.9% of everything that you need that we're demoing here, you can get from Amazon if you can't get it from there. All right?
Okay. Yes. Yes. That adds the nice red color to it, or orange, more like a cheddar cheese. And when I do the mac and cheese, just so you know, it's really creamy. Like I put a lot, like I drown the mac in there, and then I'll keep it in the oven like almost 450, 500 to get it crispy on top. So when you cut into it, it's like a little stiff, but then it's like really gooey and soft. It's very good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the example of the stir-fry tofu dish that I was telling you about. Like, literally, that's actually tofu. It almost looks like chicken. but you can get it to that thick consistency. You can cut it and stir fry it, mix it with the broccoli and some great seasonings, have that with some rice and what have you, and it tastes amazing. And this is why we are confident that someone can really transition from animal-based foods to plant-based foods, because aesthetically it looks good, but also it tastes even better. So you can really do a lot in the world of plant-based right now. So, you know, this is again just to let us know that there's a lot you can do out there to make certain changes.
Also wanted to add that there are a couple of recipes I added for nut-free cheeses. For those who don't, or have someone who knows, someone you know that doesn't want to eat nuts or can't, there's gluten-free cheeses here. I added a few, so you can look through that. There's one you can make like a potato cheese, and that's pretty good too. So, okay. Are we ready to move on to the next?
Okay.
Yeah?
So
Okay.
we're going to move on. What is our next recipe on the list?
Holiday nut.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to our holiday nut loaf. So this is where we're getting into our meat replacement. Okay, our meat replacement. So now on your paper, you should see the holiday nut loaf. And now Alexandra is going to walk you through how to prepare your holiday nut loaf, which is an alternative to meatloaf.
Okay. So you're going to start off with brown rice. So it says 4 cups of brown rice. Oh, wait, I think before that, there's like an almond and water mix. So we'll do that actually. So 1/2 cup of almonds. I soaked these as well. To 1/2 cup of water. Overnight. I soaked them overnight. But I think, so they say soak them overnight at least for a few hours, or if you don't have time, they'll say put it in boiling water for like a minute or an hour. It's better than nothing. But I guess for me, my main thing is just more so cleaning it, making sure it's clean, because it's very dirty. It's quite nasty. Yeah, yeah. But I soak my nuts. You know, I mean, if I'm grabbing a handful, I won't do it, but I'll just wash it. But if I'm like making a smoothie and I'll add some nuts in there, or I'll soak them. So, oh yeah, this is water. So where's my water? Here we go. Okay. So 1/2 cup of almonds to 1/2 cup of water. Gonna blend that. I was supposed to plug this in, so give me a second. Yeah, Magic Bullet, NutriBullet, yes. Okay, here's a dirty now. Okay, it's probably not sealed all the way. All right. So you're going to take this paste and add it to the mix. I'm doing half because I'm only doing a demo, so I'm not going to do the whole thing. So you have, let me try to move this so you can see. I just blended. So I got the soaked almond. Yeah, little chunks. Well, I typically do it until it's smooth, but for time's sake, I'm just gonna, yeah, this is just demo food. It's cooked. Cooked, yes. You can use short grain brown rice too. It could help it stick better, but just put a little in there. Okay. And then you got your mock seasoning. So if you look before, it says mock chicken seasoning. I think it's the recipe above the nut loaf. Those are all the ingredients I used for this dish. Again, if I were to use it for the tofu dish, it wouldn't taste that great. So you just add 5 tablespoons to that mix. And then you're going to do the tofu. You're going to use a whole block for your recipe. I'm just using half a block because I'm just demonstrating again. You mash it up. This is what you kind of could do over the tofu when you're cooking it on the stove there. But so you mash that up. Then you have your onion salt and garlic salt, your dried onion. So you sprinkle that. You have your quick oats and your parsley. And then you have your nut milk. So where are you? Okay. Honestly, you're just kind of incorporating it with a spoon or with your hands. Oh, also, sorry, the ground nuts. I put there a cup and a half. Say again? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. So you just incorporate that, and you're going to see it's going to come together. And when it comes together, you can put it in a 9 by 13. I typically like to line my pans with parchment paper, and I'll just stick it in there. You can make like little nut balls if you want, but you're just mixing this up until it's well incorporated, and then it kind of takes the shape. And then when you're done, you bake that for like an hour. I was going to warm it up, but it's still warm from baking from this morning. I'm just going to show you. Well, you can, but might be too many carbs because you got the rice. You got the oats and you got the rice. So with the mash, it might be too many carbs. But yeah, this is it after you bake it. Yeah, it doesn't look too great when you, oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I never froze it, so I can't tell you. I would think it can, because there's no oil in it. Yeah, I would think it's okay, but yeah. Okay, I used almond for this recipe, but you can use any kind of ground nuts. No, so you're going to use the almonds, right? You can if you want. One time I did it, I used hazelnuts for the ground nuts. So you could use cashews, that's why I kind of left it blank, but you can use any nuts you want, honestly, yeah. Yeah, to make a paste. And that's also going to help incorporate the mix together. Okay. So we're going to have that cut up for you. So I'm going to move on to dessert. Now, with the dessert, I wanted to explain how I make it. Okay? I'm starting with the dessert. Is that okay? Okay. So if you look at the recipe, you have to create the crust. So you have the 2 cups of roasted pecans. So imagine you have, what is it called? The food processor. it doesn't have to be roasted, but that's what the recipe called for. 2 cups of roasted pecans, 4 to 6 dates. Be prepared to use up to 8 dates because the dates is really going to help that crust bind. Half a cup of carrot powder. Now, I didn't go to the health food store. I got this on Amazon. Okay, pretty cost effective. And then the vanilla flavoring. I found this at Safeway. I don't see it here. I thought I put it here as a sample, but so you're gonna blend that. It's gonna smell so good. That crust is gonna smell good. You just keep blending it. It's gonna turn into like a nice chocolate crust, and you're gonna blend it till it sticks together. So you just keep letting it go until it sticks, and then you're gonna press it against your platter, your plate, wherever you're gonna put the dish. You could put it anywhere, like in a circle dish. For the next one, you're going to use 3 cups of raw cashews. I recommend that you soak it overnight. And when you do the almond, notice it says unsweetened almond. So you want to use unsweetened almond because we have sugar in this recipe, so you don't want it too sweet. So you want the unsweetened almond, 2 tablespoons of vanilla flavor, half a cup of the carrot powder, and then coconut sugar. This particular sugar works best for this recipe. If you use Florida crystals or any other sugar, it's not going to taste the same. So there's various kinds of sugar. This is coconut sugar. And I wanted to show you a picture of it. It's not turbinado sugar. It looks brown, like this is like a darker. It has like, yeah, sure, I left it, so yeah. I got this at Walmart. This is a treat. This is not something we eat all the time, okay? So, and then, so you're gonna blend all of that. Do not blend the coconut oil yet. You blend everything in the blender. Once it's nice and smooth, then you add slowly the coconut oil. And it sounds like a lot, but this is a dessert. So, the coconut oil really brings the recipe together. So you can't substitute it. You know, someone's like, oh, I want oil-free. Yeah, you can't substitute the coconut oil because it really brings the flavor together. You're going to smell it and taste it. If you taste the dish, the sauce before, taste the batter before you put the coconut oil and then taste it after, you're going to see the difference. So it's really the highlight of it. You obviously put it in your platter, you freeze it, and that's what we have there. We don't have access to a kitchen, so I have to keep it cold. So you all can try it, okay? All right.
The one thing that you all want to keep in mind is, for those of us who are diabetic, regular table sugar on the glycemic index is going to be between 60 and 65. When it comes to coconut sugar, it's going to be between 35 and 50. So what does that mean? That means that its numbers are kind of high. It's still very close to the regular table sugar, even though it's better. It gives certain nutrients, which are also better than table sugar. But if you are really combating with diabetes or anything of that nature, you do not want to make this a regular part of your diet because of the fact that, you know, again, you're still trying to get management over your glucose levels. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean that having a small piece of this pie, just so you can get an idea of how it tastes, but at the same time, you would definitely want to alternate on your sweeteners. You might want to consider trying it with agave or something else rather than the coconut sugar, only because of the glycemic index. So just keep that in mind. We want to make you aware of that. I wanted to show you all this very quickly as well. As you know, we do this to try to inspire. So like we said, you know, you can do a stir fry, you could do a mac and cheese. We talked about that already. This is something my daughter Jada made. These are biscuits with gravy. Any of you do that? Have like biscuits and gravy? I mean, wow, this is so good. I mean, she just knew how to make the most fluffy textured. Now keep in mind, all of this is plant-based. All of this is plant-based. There's no milk, there's no dairy, there's no butter, there's no eggs, nothing. And I mean, these biscuits will melt in your mouth. I'm trying to show you what you can make, okay? So here she made the biscuits, then there goes the scrambled tofu, and then there goes the gravy. Even the gravy is vegan. Everything is plant-based and nutrient-dense, right? So you can make biscuit and gravy. My daughter Kayla loves to make cupcakes. You can make absolutely incredible cupcakes. You can enjoy various types of pastries. Kayla got so good at it that when we would travel, as a family, we would travel and do ministry together. And we were literally traveling the world. And sometimes our children would make cakes and make cupcakes and all these things. Kayla got so good that she made this. And I mean, you know, now she's adding design. Now now her cakes are having what we call presentation and all of these things. But I'm showing you this because I want you to understand that eating healthy does not mean becoming a human rabbit. It doesn't mean it's all about celery sticks and carrot sticks and things of that nature. You can actually really get creative, and you can really enjoy your food, and you can make a lot of great stuff. So, as you're seeing here, yes, you can make some scrambled tofu instead of scrambled eggs. You can make some, plant-based cheeses. You can definitely make a meat replacement. You can obviously make a pastry. And then now she's going to demonstrate for you just an alternative to salad dressings, because a lot of our salad dressings have vinegar in it. I don't know if you ever read in your Bible Proverbs 10 and verse 26. I thought it was a very interesting finding. I said, look at that. The Bible talks about this. Now, the reason why I say this is because in medical science, as they did research on food, one of the things they found out is that vinegar is, the acidic acid in vinegar is so high that it literally eats away at the dental enamel of your teeth. It eats away at the dental enamel of your teeth, okay? Vinegar. So when you look at Proverbs 10 and verse 26, Solomon is using his poetic language, but notice that in that verse, he talks about as vinegar to the teeth. And I thought to myself, man, like I keep telling you, the Bible's a health book, right? It's like even the Bible God knew about how vinegar can damage the dental enamel of your teeth. And you see that right in Proverbs 10 and verse 26. And I'm thinking to myself, man, there's so many health counsels in Scripture. It's just a lot of us were never trained to see it, but it was there. Vinegar, the acidic acid in vinegar is so strong that it can literally eat away at the mucosous lining of yours and my stomach and cause gastritis. So there's a lot of us who are belching and burping and all of these other things which can be symptoms of gastritis, and we don't realize sometimes it's the vinegar-based products that we're taking in. So vinegar is actually so strong that it can break down the red blood cells and literally cause hemolysis, the breaking down of your red blood cells. So vinegar is really not a great product for you and I to ingest on a regular basis, because if there's one thing for sure, is we want to eat more of this. We all need to be eating much, much more salad. We need to be getting in much, much more of our raw vegetables. And the reality is that if you're going to eat it, you could be Superman or Superwoman and just say, I don't need any dressing, and just eat it straight. I respect you. I think you're a great person to do that. I'm just not as great as you are. If I'm going to eat salad, I got to have a dressing on it. And so what we don't want is, while we want you to increase your green, increase your salads, we don't want you to increase your vinegar intake. We want you to be mindful of that. So that's the only reason why we're saying, hey, let's try to make some changes. Yes, and then yes. Yeah, the key functional word is hype. So, and that's the reason why, because again, apple cider and vinegar, they both working together, very high acidic acid once again. Can it help you on one side? Yes. But can it harm you on the other side? The answer is yes. So when we think about true medicine, we think about that which only helps without harm. That's what you think about with a true medicine. So apple cider vinegar, can it have some degree of help to some of our issues? Yes, it can, but it's still going to do a lot of the negative things that you'll typically get from a vinegar-based product. So that's the only reason why, sure, I know a lot of people who are going through the craze of apple cider vinegar, but again, apple cider vinegar will have some good, but the problem is it's going to add some harm, the same harm that we're discussing right now. So that's the only reason why I've never recommended apple cider vinegar as something for a medicine for individuals, because there's better alternatives. There's whatever apple cider vinegar is known to do, there's another alternative that could do it without the negatives. So that's the reason why I just don't adhere to that. Yes, sir? Okay, yeah, so that's basically it. Yes, Billy?
So you said things like sauerkraut were good for you, and kimchi, there's a bit of vinegar in it?
Yeah, well, it depends on how it's made. So yesterday I was talking with Sister Marie, and we were talking about there's a difference between something that is cultured and something that is fermented. And so the reality is that the debate now that's out is fermented foods is where we're sooner guarding against, but cultured foods is what we're more so promoting. The only problem is it seems to get kind of nuanced as far as what really is the dividing line between the two. So for me, that would have to be a discussion I'd have to get further into at another time, as far as the difference between culture and fermented. Yes. Let me tell you something. They know that father and mother have said for years, you need to put a cookbook together. And I'll say this, when I think about the thousands of people over the years that we have served, you have no idea how many thousands of cookbooks we have sold from other people's cookbooks. And I always told my daughters, I said, girls, I would love to take your cookbook and sell this so that you all can get the business benefit from it, because we teach all of our children to be business owners. We're like, you guys need to learn how to run your own thing. And so far, they're still struggling with it, but our daughter Jada, she makes a cheesecake that is out of this world. I mean, if she were here, she knows that we would have asked her, Jada, please make one of your cheesecakes. And now, my daughter, she makes my favorite pie on all of planet Earth, which is sweet potato pie. I mean, Jada makes a mean sweet potato pie. And the reality is that her cheesecake is so good that we went to a vegan restaurant in our neighborhood called Fa Vegan. And when we were there, we had one of their cheesecakes. We were like, it's all right. And we told the owners about our daughter. The owner said, bring us a sample. And next thing you know, they tried our daughter's thing. They locked her in. They said they made a contract with her. Now our daughter supplies them with all of their cheesecakes. And now Jada's starting to build out her network of supplying cheesecakes and other things, because I'm telling you, if there was a way that I could get her to bring her cheesecakes here, if you like cheesecake, you would love her cheesecakes. So now Jada's kind of getting into it. And so Kayla, she's not doing it as much. She just does it for herself. But yeah, we tried real hard to get them to make the cookbooks, but yeah, we didn't have too much success with that one. Yep. Yes. Sure. Oh, yes. Actually, this is one of the dressings that my wife is going to do. Are you ready, hon? Okay, so come on up, April. So April's going to come up and help us with this one. So this is one that you can do. Nutritional yeast will be part of the ingredients. This is one of our favorite dressings. It's very nutrient dense, very healthy, and it also tastes really good. So we're going to go ahead and let Alexandra work this one out with April to get this done for you all.
Okay, so we have here, I don't have the mic.
Oh, you want me to hold it? I'll hold this one.
So we have here lettuce, the green leaf lettuce, a little bit of red leaf. And what April's going to do is she's going to take the cucumbers and put it on top, just sprinkle it over all of it. This is an oil-free dressing. Then you're going to take the tomatoes and sprinkle it.
Now, oil-free is very important to your question, because if you want to drop weight like a bad habit, start scaling back on oils. The less oils you use, you will watch weight start dropping off of you. It's the oils that keeps us where we don't want to be. You understand that? So the more that we can remove those oils, we'll be better off. So this is, as stated, an oil-free dressing. So watch how this is made.
Then you're going to sprinkle your olives.
These olives are so good.
That's good. That's pretty good. And then the avocados. Now there's seeds in it to try to keep it fresh, so just remove the pits. I think there's 2, 1, 2. Okay, there it goes. Just sprinkle that over it. Okay. A little more. Okay. That's good. Okay. So now you're going to take the nutritional yeast flakes. Let me see, where is it? Okay, let me grab it over here. No, that's for the tofu. Okay. We'll get these flakes after. Let me get the. So you're going to pretty much.
You want for the recording, huh? You want to
Oh.
talk in the mic?
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you see the bag of yeast flakes over there, Johanna? It should be in that burlap bag. There it goes. So you're going to sprinkle like a layer of yeast flakes on top of it, just a layer over the salad. Keep sprinkling. That's good. Then you're going to take some onion powder and sprinkle on top. Not as much as these flakes. Just sprinkle a little, a light layer over the top. That's good.
It's already smelling really good.
Garlic powder. Same thing with the garlic powder. Maybe a little more. Okay. And then salt. Now this one, only because there's so much lettuce in there, I'll tell you when to stop, but you'll get used to it. Okay, that's it. We're gonna start with always a little bit of salt, because if there's too much salt, you ruin the dish. And then you're gonna take the 2 spoons, the 2 black ones, and you're just gonna start mixing, mixing. And what you're gonna find, it seems overwhelming. It's okay if it falls out a little bit. But you're gonna find that as you continue mixing, it looks like it's gonna be too dry. It's gonna actually start getting creamier and creamier. And it's okay, because we didn't have a larger dish, so we just tried to work with it. But everybody will be able to get a sample. There's more than enough salad. And you just keep mixing. Woo-hoo.
Okay.
It's okay, yeah. Mhm. Because you want the avocado mixes with the yeast flakes. And that's what actually, you want it incorporated in all the leaves. Normally you'd get a larger bowl, but this is the largest we could find. It's gonna start shrinking down a little bit, and you're gonna taste it and decide, I want more onion powder, more garlic powder, more salt. But it's very good if it's seasoned right. Some people sprinkle a little lemon juice in there as well. If you want that's good too. And it looks like it's dry, but as you keep mixing it, you're gonna see it's gonna start getting creamier and creamier.
So you're still getting oil, but you're getting it in the most natural way. You're getting it from the avocado. That's the better way to consume your oils. Yes, Lisa? If you're going to use an oil, extra virgin olive oil is absolutely recommended. Extra virgin olive oil is wonderful for making your salads. So yes, you can do that. There are so many ways that you can do this as an alternative dressing, keeping it simple. You can take virgin olive oil, you can pour it over there a little bit, and then you still sprinkle the nutritional yeast amongst maybe some Celtic or Himalayan salt, and you can still enjoy it that way as well. This way we're doing it oil-free because of individuals who may say, hey, I want to be a little health conscious, I want to start losing weight or what have you, then yes, this is the much, much better way to do it. No added oils except directly from the food.
You see it coming together. Yes, it is. It should say oil-free dressing, and I give the ingredients in there. One thing I add to this is plantains, steamed sweet plantains. I don't know if you can find it up here. If you steam it and add it to this, it's so good. Plus beans. You can add like a couple of beans in there, and that's almost like a meal. So sometimes I'll eat this if I'm doing like a raw week or a raw day. I'll have like a huge salad of that. My kids love it, especially Caleb. He loves this salad. Yeah. Yeah, it's just obviously the larger the salad, the more time it takes, but you keep mixing it, it's coming together. April says her arms are hurting. I don't know.
Carob on salad, that would be a first. Okay, so that looks good.
No, not yet. A little more. You could talk about something if you want.
Well, I know you're gonna start preparing the
Yes.
food. So as far as demos are concerned, we're gonna just give a quick little rehearsal. So we started first talking about our scrambled tofu. After that, we demonstrated both of our cheeses, our cheddar and our Alfredo. And then after that, the demonstration of the nut loaf. And then after that, we talked about our dessert alternative, a healthy dessert, our raw carob pie. And then lastly, we talked about an alternative to salad dressings because we want to start being more mindful of our vinegar intake and trying to minimize that. So here we talked about a dressing alternative. Now, yeah, you all could see that, you're not maybe seeing it, but the oils from the avocado is really blending in the salad. Now it's going to lock in all of that flavor, and then when you get your portion, you'll see how it tastes. It's very, very, very good. So all of these demos are now, the demonstration side of our cooking class is done, so now we're just waiting for the best side of all. You know what the best side is, right? Exactly, to taste it. And so this is where, coming to you, okay? This is where Alexandra, as well as our few helpers, are going to start preparing your plates. It looks like there's about 30 of us here. So a lot of things was put together already to make sure that you all will get your samples, okay? So we're going to go ahead and let Alexandra and the other ladies go ahead and start getting your plates together. And we're going to work on that very quickly. And then I can go ahead and do two things, which is take some questions, and then I can explain a little bit of health counsels while we're waiting for all of the plates to be prepared. So my sister here had a question first, and then I'll come to you. And then if any of us have questions, then we'll go ahead and take your questions, and we'll cover a little bit more information while they're getting our plates together. Yes? So the question was asked, have we ever substituted something for oats like barley flakes or something to that effect? We have not done it ourselves, but we've seen other people do it. So the answer is yes. You can alternate. You can alternate from one grain to another. The key thing to remember is flavor. One thing might give one flavor where another food group will give a completely different flavor. But in our opinion, that's the beauty of cooking, is you get to experiment and you get to see a new way of tasting something and saying, oh, wow, I never tasted it with this before, but it tastes really good. Or I've never tasted this before and this tasted really bad. So yes, cooking is going to be largely experimentation, just trying to make it work. But we've seen others explore with barley or some other grain rather than oats. We have seen that before, even though we didn't do it ourselves. Okay? Yes. Great question. So, Alexandra, she's asking that with the mock chicken seasoning, can someone use that to make like a chicken broth? And if they did, would they need to add more salt because it's just water and the chicken seasoning?
I mean, everything to me is the taste. So taste it, see if you need to add more salt to it, and adjust it accordingly.
Yeah.
I've never did it. I've never done it, actually. But yes, I know someone who made a chicken broth and then marinated her tofu in it. It was very good.
Yeah. Yeah, very good question. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yeah. Correct. That's a great question. I'm going to leave that up to the scientists.
No, I learned it from a lady at our church one time. She just said she made like a guacamole, and then she had the pit in the middle, and she said that it slows the process of keeping it brown, turning brown. So,
So it's more experimental than, like
I mean,
we
it
don't
works.
know the science behind it. It worked.
it works.
It worked,
Yeah.
but the science behind it, no, we don't know. Lemon juice. Possibly, yes. Now, if you like the tart taste that lemon gives, like when we do our cheese, a lot of people do the vegan cheddar cheese with lemon. For me, as much as I'm a lemon, I don't like it in my food. And I find that the tart takes away from it. It takes away from the flavor. So unless you really like tart, then yes, you can add your lemon to it because it's going to definitely give it tart. Same thing with your salad dressings. If you really like lemon, you can put it in the salad dressing, and it's going to give you that little tart taste to it. And if you like that, then fantastic, go for it. But what we have found, literally, when we do these demos, we have a lot of people who are like, you know what, I've eaten the vegan cheddar cheese before, I've eaten a certain salad dressing before, and 100% of the time so far, they said, we like it better without the lemon. So it just seems like maybe meeting people where they're at, maybe that tart taste is maybe after we've made certain adjustments with our palate, but without the lemon seems to be doing better. It seems to be a greater success for a lot of people. Any other questions? Yes, Lisa. Okay. Correct. Yes. Absolutely. All of the presentations this week. So beginning tomorrow night, Monday night, we're going to be doing presentations on mental health. So all this week, we've been focusing on physical health. Beginning tomorrow night, all the way up until the weekend, we're going to be focusing on mental health. And it's going to be over at the Sholo Church, and those presentations will be recorded. Okay, so they'll be recorded, so you will be able to go online, review them, and capture whatever blessing you can get out of it. Okay? Yes, Billy. A pepper jack? You know what? It's a great question. We don't have a pepper jack because even when we used to eat cheese, pepper jack just wasn't on our list. So we never learned how to do it ourselves, but I'm very confident that you can learn almost any alternative cheese. Like almost any cheese that is out there that you enjoy, there is a way to do it. So what is really our hope with this class? Our hope with this cooking class is that you will see that there are ways you can still enjoy your food even though it's plant-based, and you can get as creative as you want. We have been eating plant-based for the past 25 plus years. Our children grew up being plant-based, and there's never been any diseases that we had to worry about. Our children are, strong and vibrant, and they're doing very, very well. And, it just testifies to the fact that you can actually eat a whole food plant-based diet and literally lack for nothing. And that's the part that we want to encourage others to see, is that you can go total whole food plant-based and you don't have to worry about what about my protein or what about my vitamins and minerals. Am I going to start getting weak? Am I going to start getting pale? Am I going to start suffering in some way? Am I not going to be strong? All of those things are falsehoods. You can live a full, complete, healthy, happy life and strong in all of the other blessings and be total plant-based. And you avoid a lot because, like we said this week, look at what's contributing to a lot of these diseases. It's the food that we're eating. So that's the big reason why. We're hoping that you get all of the bonuses, that you don't have the sickness and disease and a lot of other things by learning how to just simply take charge of your health and how you eat. All right? Didn't you have your hand up a while ago? Yeah. Correct. Yeah, it's all under that same category. So it's better for us to look to the alternatives. Try to do some things that are free from vinegar. I'll give you an example. Salsa. How many of us like salsa? Right? We do chips and salsa. All of the salsas out there, for the most part, have vinegar in it as a base. Okay. Thankfully, however, you now have certain companies that are making even salsa without any vinegar in it. And one of the big ones out there is, I believe, is it Hernandez? Herdez. Thank you. Herdez. Herdez is in Walmart. It's in Safeway. I mean, you can get this thing anywhere. An absolutely delicious salsa. No vinegar in it. And I was like, wow. That's like the first company I've seen on the mass market that is making salsa with no vinegar in it. That blew my mind. And if you taste it, it is amazing. And they have it in mild and medium and all of that, so you can really enjoy it. So it seems like, in other words, it seems like the health world is becoming more privy to the fact that there are alternatives out there. You don't have to eat these certain food groups the same way. So I think that's great news. It's like really, really good news. Okay? Any other questions? Yes. The Herdez one? Herdez. 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 And again, when you go to your supermarket, even Walmart, they all are carrying it. So it's very, very easily accessible. So, yep, it's out there. Any other questions? Yes. For beans. Okay. Let me, where's my little clicker? Oh, here it is. Let me give you, I'm going to give this to all of you. Let's see, it's a good bit. Yeah. So please take this down. This is my wife's email. There are other recipes that she either knows how to make or can send to you. And if you email her, she can go ahead and give you some tips on how to prepare your beans really well, so that way you can enjoy your beans and so on. Because I will say that if you're going to go total plant-based, if you're going to really say, look, I'm taking full charge of my health, I don't want to eat meat products or whatever anymore, I'm going to go total plant-based, then I would definitely recommend that you start seeing how well your body responds to beans, lentils, and things of that nature. And there are some awesome dishes that you can make. I mean, there's some curry lentil and different things that my wife makes that's just amazing. One of the things that I appreciate about food and the way it's prepared in our home is sometimes it's a trade-off. Either the food tastes great but has compromising ingredients, or the food has amazing ingredients but tastes horrible. And so what we want to do is we want to marry these two concepts. We want it to not only be super healthy, but we also want it to taste really good. And that is what I've noticed. The thing that I have said publicly many times that I've always appreciated about my wife is that she really efforts to make food that tastes great, but also is very healthy. I want to encourage you, please do the same thing. When you make your food, make sure that you focus on taste. It needs to taste good, but also make sure that you got some really good ingredients in there that are health-giving and life-giving, okay? So yeah, go ahead and email, and then hopefully you'll get some more information. Yes? For which kind of beans again? Yeah, for sure. I mean, the world of beans is very vast. You have a lot of beans out there. So really what we're doing is we're saying, okay, here's a bean group that I'm allergic to, or I don't like it, whatever it is. Okay, fine. Is there another bean that has the same nutrients as this one, but it tastes completely different and what have you? And the answer is yes. So all it is you don't have to go back to that bean. Just find another, a different bean group, a different family in the legume family. Try that one, and then go ahead and enjoy all the benefits that it gives. That's it. So yeah, that's what I love. The world of beans are very huge. A lot of people don't know this either, but when it comes to grains, these are the 4 food groups that you all want to make sure you're getting in your diet every day. All right? The 4 food groups, okay? You want to make sure you're getting in complex carbs, proteins, fats, and vitamins and minerals. As long as you're getting those in every day, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. One of the first things that I want to talk about very quickly is your whole grains. I want to show you something. I want you to look at this. Many whole grains are good or excellent sources of dietary fiber. Most refined grains contain little fiber. Dietary fiber from whole grains as part of an overall healthy diet may help improve blood cholesterol levels and lower risk of heart disease, stroke, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. Okay? Dietary fiber can make you feel full, so you may eat fewer calories. So eating more whole grains is an excellent way to lose weight. Now here's the deal. I want you to watch this. When you look at a whole grain, this is what you got going on. To all of my diabetic friends, okay, listen carefully. White rice is endosperm. So what are you getting? You're getting some nutrients. You're getting some complex carbs. You're getting some B-complex vitamins and proteins, which is fantastic. But white rice is lacking bran. What's the first nutrient under bran? Fiber. And as a result of having low fiber, if you're diabetic and you're eating a lot of white rice, it's going to shoot your sugar up. So one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that if I'm diabetic, I must move more to a whole grain. I don't want to stay in the world of a stripped grain. So don't just eat endosperm. You need to have endosperm, you need to have bran, and you also need to have germ. That's what makes a grain whole. All of these stripped grains are hurting us. Whenever you eat a food group and the thing says enriched, that is a very deceptive word, because enriched means that they took a lot from the grain and only put a little back in. You remember this Bible verse right here? What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. That's not just in reference to marriage. That's also in reference to our food. No one should tear apart our food and take away all the grains. Now, look at how much grains are out there that you can eat. Voila. Look at that. You got a lot of options, okay? If you don't like oats for any reason, you can try quinoa. If you don't like quinoa, you can try sorghum. If you don't like sorghum, you can try buckwheat. If you don't like buckwheat, you can try frike. If you don't like frike, you can try bulgur. You can try teff. You can try kamut. You can try millet. You can try spelt. You can try farro. You can try amaranth. There's so many grains that are out there. And so the bottom line is that, remember, if you can't work with one, try another until you can eventually find one that works with your system, you really enjoy it, and then you can go ahead and eat. Now, because some of you are getting your plates, I'm just going to give thanks for the food very quickly, and then I want you to go ahead and partake. Let's go ahead and give thanks. Father, we want to thank you so much for the food that has been prepared, as well as the wonderful hands that were involved in its preparation. We pray your blessings on them, but we also pray your blessings on us as we eat. May it bring health, strength, and inspiration to us. Is our prayer we ask in Christ's name. Amen. So please.